The Tragedy of the Hearthblood. Once long before the splintering of the Freljord, Ornn had a legion of smiths who lived at the base of his mountain. They claimed to worship Ornn, but if you were to ask him, they were misguided, for he would say he had no followers. Still it is true that they built themselves a little town, and that it was filled with folk who wished to make the finest things in all the world. There were thousands of them. They made tools, they made plows, they made carts and armor and saddles. They built furnaces and homes. They called themselves the Hearthblood, for they never felt the biting cold of the Freljord, and could tolerate the immense heat bubbling beneath their bare feet on the slopes of Hearth-Home. They became the finest craftspeople in the world, and their workmanship was surpassed in quality only by Ornn's. Occasionally he would appraise their work. If he liked what one of the Hearthblood had wrought, he simply said, "Passable." This was a mighty compliment from Ornn, who had learned long ago to let good work speak for itself. Ornn never admitted that he admired the Hearthblood, but deep inside his chest his volcanic heart churned with respect for the hard-working people. They did not kneel or offer him sacrificed flesh. They did not turn his words into scriptures and spread them across the land to people who did not want to hear them. Instead, they focused on their work in silence. They were imaginative, resourceful, and hardworking. These Hearthblood folks made Ornn smile, although nobody knew because they couldn't see the smile underneath his beard. One day, Volibear came to visit his brother Ornn. This was no friendly stop, for Ornn and his brother were never friendly, nor had they ever visited one another before. The Great Bear was going to make war and needed weapons for his army. Ornn saw the army, fierce operators, men twisted into other shapes by their efforts to please Volibear. They were simple and fierce, and quick to anger. "Give them swords and axes," Volibear demanded, with wicked intent. "Give them armor, and I will make it worth your while." "No," said Ornn, for he wanted no part in Volibear's warmongering. "Fine," said Volibear. "Have your followers do it instead. I do not care. Do this. I am your brother." This irked Ornn so much that his great horns flared with molten heat. "The people in the town below do not follow me. They build for themselves. They are quiet and work hard. That's all." But Volibear saw beneath his brother's words to the fiery heart in his chest. For all his flaws, Volibear was very good at reading others. "They are reflections of your own image." Ornn's horns grew red hot, and then white hot. "If I see you again, Volibear, I will beat you within an inch of your life," he growled. If he had heard this threat, you would think it wise for Volibear to leave and never return. But Volibear loved fighting, and he was not wise, so he took a piece of armor from the walls of Ornn's forge. "If you will not make me what I want, then I will take it." With that, Ornn charged at Volibear and smashed him with his horns. It was so powerful blow, the summit of the mountain shook. This was exactly what Volibear wanted. For centuries he had grown jealous of the love the Hearthblood freely gave to his brother. It enraged the warbear. They fought for 8 days. They fought so hard, the base of the mountain trembled. So fierce was their fighting that molten stone exploded from the peak of Hearth-Home. Lightning strikes barraged the mountainside, and geysers of flame gushed from the cliffs. The skies grew black and red. The blood of the world ran through the highlands as the ground shook. People all over the Freljord saw the results of the battle between Volibear and Ornn. When the smoke cleared, the mountain had lost its peak. But worse, the Hearthblood were all dead, and their town was nothing but smoldering ruins and fading memory. For many centuries, the half-mountain once called Hearth-Home has stood silent. Every now and then a plume of smoke rises from the crater where the peak once stood. Some say it is Ornn, lighting his furnace to keep the fires under the surface of the world from going out. Others say he is building a great weapon that he will one day unleash. And there are others still who believe Ornn was killed by Volibear, for he has not been seen in the Freljord since. So ends the final story among the Lost Tales of Ornn, the Tragedy of the Hearthblood. I hope you have enjoyed this little series, and will return for more stories in the future. Have a good night.